Hello, hello. I'm audible. Can just anyone acknowledge in the chat box? I'm audible. Yes. So okay. Let's wait for like 2-3 minutes so that others can also join. Then we'll start. Right.
Hello, sir.
Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know, is my screen visible? Is it visible to all? Is my screen visible? Yes, visible. Okay, great, great, great. Let me just do the basic configuration first. And so what's fine. So I gave you a homework in the last class, right? I hope so. You guys tried out these things, tried out to read about stacks, hosting, closures, um, and this execution context, right? I hope so. You guys tried, right? You guys tried it or not? Like, just let me know, please. I'll explain it for sure, but I just want to know that have you guys invested your time there or not? Yes, sir. Done. Done. Great. Only one person. Yes, sir. Done. Just one person has tried, right? Uh, yes, sir. This yes, sir was for just one person, or you have tried? Great, great, great. Great, great, great. Okay, but we'll see it again here as well so that we can get a taste of how things work, right? So today we'll be starting with the this how our JavaScript code runs and what things are there, right? So let's do one thing. Let's initially create a folder first. Yeah, we have a folder, right? I'll be making it like global context as my folder name. Yes, there. That's in my file inside. I'm just basically writing any random function, like anything just for making us see that what basically is happening. Like let's say not this, saying function somewhere and console.log hi team. I'm just simply executing it, or I can do one more thing that I can say that x equal to 100 uh, tool.log x value as well. I'll be just simply invoking the function, right? Let's see what happens in our case. What basically is happening behind the scenes, right? If I just go there and check out my console, then yes, I'm getting this high team and 100 as a result of my this code app.js code, right? This is my basically I've created a function, I've called it, and inside the function I was having a variable. I simply logged out a simple string, and then I consoled out this variable which I defined, right? So initially I'll be getting high team, and then I'll be getting 100. So this is what we are getting right now. Okay, we know the output, but we don't know exactly how this JavaScript engine is behind the scene working and behind the scene running, right? So let's do it this way. Uh, Let us make a little different function so that we can understand in a better way, right? I'm simply creating a function. Let's say I'll be creating a variable, right? But this time I'll be using where declaration right now. I'll be explaining why is it happening and why I'm using where, what is the difference. I'll be explaining everything. Just be with me right now, right? I'm simply creating a variable x using a var declaration, assigning it some value, right? After that, I'm creating a function. Let's say I'm creating a fun function. What can I add in it? I can add one more variable in it. Let's assume I'm writing. Let's make it 50, right? I'm writing one more variable y with a var declaration, and I'm assigning a value of 50 to it. Let me do one thing. Let me console out the value. Log of y. Then let's say I'll write one more thing that I'm inside this fun function, right? Console.log. I'm inside this fun function, right? I'll write this as well, and I guess I will. Okay, I'll invoke this function. I can even write console.log, right? Console.log of x value, right? So can you guys tell me what could be the possible outcome of this function? Just in the chat box, nothing else. Just in the chat box. This is the function. Just see it, observe, and let me know what is the like possible outcomes according to you guys. Just type it in the chat box, please. Just check this code and try to give me the output that what is the possible output in this way. Inside function, inside fun function 15. Okay, great. Most of you are almost right. Let us see that what is it giving us, right? Let us see. So it is giving me 100, then it is giving me inside fun, and then it is giving me 50, right? How is this working? Let us check it now. What happened here? So many messages are there, right? Right, great. Everyone is like almost correct. Let's see how these things are working, right? So we'll be knowing about global execution phase, right? Execution context. You just write it context or phase anything that is like one and the same thing, right? We'll be learning about that. Okay. Uh, what basically happens is whenever a JavaScript code is run, right? JavaScript code is run or JavaScript engine is coming into play, right? Or JavaScript engine comes into play, right? A global execution context is created. A global execution context, right? This is basically GEC. A GEC global execution context is created, right? Inside which I have two phases. Inside which we have two phases, right? The one is the memory creation phase. MCP stands for memory creation phase. And second is the code execution phase, that is CEP, code execution phase. This phase can be replaced by the context as well. So that's like one and the same thing. There's like no difference. You just need to know that this is the code execution phase and this is the memory execution phase. Okay. What I meant by this is like simply uh, I'll create a GEC first. Like what is a GEC? A global execution context. Let's assume I'm having my code. I'll just copy paste the code from here so that it will be better to understand. I'll simply copy from here and paste it. Let me do some of the indentation so that it is clearly visible. Is it visible to you guys? I hope so. It should be because the screen is like big enough, right? So whenever a JavaScript code is run, a global execution context is created. This is my global execution context, right? And inside this, I said that you have two phases. One is the memory creation phase, and second is the code execution phase. Okay, let's see what the difference between them is. I'm creating one phase as memory creation phase and second as code execution phase. Okay, great. Now, what will this memory creation phase do? What will it do is that without even starting off this JavaScript code, right? This is my JavaScript code, right? This is the entire code. Without even executing the first line of the code, this is the first line, right? Without even executing the first line, what MCP does is MCP basically extracts, or I would say skims out all the variables as well as the functions which are present. Functions which are present inside it. Present inside this global execution context. This is basically these all the lines are basically a part of entirely will consist of global execution phase, right? Global execution context, right? So it extracts or skims out all the variables as well as the functions which are present inside the GEC, right? Inside the GEC. Now, what I mean is like this is my variable, this X is my variable, and this fun function is my function. I say that we will be skimming out the variables, right? We'll be skimming out the variables. Along with that, we'll be skimming out the functions as well, right? So this is one of my functions. We'll be skimming out this, and we'll be skimming out this X variable. And do we have one more variable here? No, we don't have any of the variable. We have just function invocation, and we have just a console statement, right? So the two things that will be skimmed out by my memory creation phase will be one this X variable and this entire function, right? As well as the function, and make sure this function is skimmed out entirely. That is line by line is copy pasted. And how is it copy pasted? Let's see. I just told you about X, right? X is a variable. Now, what will be the value stored in front of this X? Because this first line is not even executed. Even the code is not executed, then this variable is skimmed out. And what our JavaScript engine does is it provides it a value of undefined, right? It it is like a placeholder which our JavaScript engine assigns to it, right? Undefined is assigned towards our X variable, which is being skimmed out in the memory creation phase. Along with that, this function fun, right? This function fun, this function fun is basically stored as it is. Let's assume this is my var y is equal to 50 and console.log, all the stuff which are written inside this function, they'll be stored as it is inside my MCP. Is this clear till now? Like, is this clear till now? That what is happening in the memory creation phase? All the variables and all the functions are skimmed out. Functions are skimmed out as it is, and variables will be skimmed out just by a value of undefined because the function is not executed yet. So it will not be assigned any value. So the JavaScript engine will directly assign it a value of undefined. Clear till now? Can you please repeat it once again? Just a second. Huh? Abhay, just see it once more, right? I'm just removing it. I know this is little tricky and new thing, so that's why I'm focusing on this single phase, right? See, what I said is whenever JavaScript code is run, this is my JavaScript code. Whenever JavaScript code is run, a global execution context is created. What is a global execution context? This entire box is my global execution context, right? And I said entirely inside my GEC, there are two more phases. One of the phase is MCP, another is CEP. What is MCP? Memory creation phase. And by the name itself, you get to know that only the memory is been assigned inside this phase. And the second is the code execution phase. And it means that, okay, the code, it will be like started executing from line 1 to till line top, right? Okay, so what MCP does is it extracts all the variables as well as the functions which are present inside my GEC. Okay, which are present inside my GEC, or in a better way, you should write which are present inside my code. Okay, so since if I like start, I'm just removing the stuff, right? If I'll okay, if I'll start moving from top to down before the execution phase, before like starting of my code, before even executing one single line, I'll need to like skim out all my variables. What all are the variables present with me? X is my variable present. Do I have any more variable present inside just the main function? Like this is my function, right? So until unless a function is invoked, you cannot go inside the function. You cannot go inside the function. So only this X is the variable which is present. This is just a simple console statement. This is just my function invocation. So only in case of variables, this X will be skimmed out. Okay, this X will be skimmed out, and it will be what value it can be, what value is possible for it. Since the code is not executed, so we cannot say that 100 will be assigned to it. So what our JavaScript engine does is it basically gives it a value of undefined. It assigns this special placeholder towards the value X that is undefined. And I also mentioned one thing, that the variables as well as the functions, and inside functions, I write entirely that the function is just copy pasted from this place and will be added towards here, right? So this entire fun definition, this function, which is like variable y is equal to 50 and console.log two statements, right? Console.log of whatever thing, console.log of whatever thing is written here. This is as it is copy pasted here only. And if let's assume there are few more variables, then they would also have been extracted and be provided as the value of undefined here, right? Is this clear now to everyone? Abhay and all rest of the people? Is it clear now? Okay, great. So now this memory, yes, okay. So now this memory creation phase is done. Now, what is this code execution phase? Now I said before starting of the even first line of my code, this MCP works. Okay, this MCP work is done. Now I'll start executing my code from line, like from top to bottom. That is line by line. Okay. Now let's see what will we do. I'll simply hide this one. Uh, what will be the flow of my code? It will go from top to down, right? It will go from top to down. The first line will be this will be encountered. So now the variable X has been assigned to a value of 100. Now what will happen? This undefined will be overwritten with 100 value. Okay, great. Now we know that the value of X is 100. Now there is a function written here, right? There's a function written here. Can we directly go inside the function without its calling, without its execution? No, we cannot go. We need to initialize the function first. I would say we need to invoke the function first. This is function invocation, right? Invocation is basically starting of the function or calling of the function. Invocation, right? So I cannot go here. So the direct flow of my code will go towards this line. This will be my first line which will be run. This will be my second line which will be run. Now this console.log X will be run. Let's assume this is my console wherein we get our outputs, right? Let's assume this is my console. Inside my console, what I am asking it to print, I'm asking it to print a value of 100. So it will check out, okay, like variable X is equal to assigned, right? Variable X is equal to 100 is assigned, right? So it is given here. And when the second line is executed, it is basically asking you to console the value of X. So if I console the value of no, that's Y, right? Okay, this I'm here, right? Console the value of X, right? Console the value of X, then what I'm having inside X, I'm having a value of 100. So 100 will be printed inside my console. Okay, great. This line is being done. This line is being done, right? Now what is there? This will be the third execution. Third line which will be encountered. Now I am invoking this function fun which I have created here. Okay, this fun function is created. So just remember and keep this in mind. Whenever a function is invoked, another global, another execution context. See, one is the global execution context. The global execution context is the base, which is like executed first. And whenever one more function or any more functions are invoked, then another execution context is created inside this code execution phase. And what this execution context will create, it will same create one memory creation phase as well as one code execution phase. This is my execution context, right? So this function fun is being like uh, invoked. So this entire function is being now inside this execution context. And since an execution context is created, so the step will be repeated again. What is the step? First step is to skim out all the variables and functions. So we'll start moving inside my fun function. Now I know I have this variable y inside my fun function. There is no more variable. This is the console statement. This is the console statement. So only one variable is there and no function is there inside my fun function, right? So simply, I'll be providing y inside my memory creation phase, and my JavaScript engine will provide it a value of undefined. Because before running any of the code, this MCP skimming out takes place, and I have not executed the code yet. So this y is not being assigned a value 50 yet. So this JavaScript engine will give it a value of undefined. Okay, I have skimmed out all the variables. Then my work is to go inside this function and execute all the code which is written inside it line by line. Right, great. The first line I encounter is the first line I encounter inside my fun function. This first line I encounter is like assigning the y value is equal to 50. So what I'll simply do is this undefined now will be overtaken and 50 value will be assigned towards my variable of y. Okay. Then this console.log statement takes place. Where is my console window? Okay. Simply now this inside this fun and whatever is written will be this function. This inside this is basically written here, right? This will come. Now, what is the second next statement after printing this? This is like print the value of y. Now it will check, do we have the value of y? Yes, we have the value of y, which is equal to 50. Then yes, it will be printing a value of 50, right? Now, this code has been ended, right? Entire function is been ended. So once the function is ended, its existence like it just vanishes off. We do not need this function after that. So now, after the completion of the task, this code, this execution context, which was created because of the function, that will be removed off. That will be like coming out of our code execution phase, and then we'll go back again after the line fun function, and there is nothing written. So this entire outside code is also finished, and then like also completed. So this MCP is also this is also like skimmed off. I should not have done it. I'm sorry. I should not have done it. Uh, I need to make it again, right? Okay, so I guess this thing is back. So once this fun function is like completed, then according to basic rules, this MCP and CEP should also. Uh, yes, like is anyone asking something? Okay. So once my entire code is like completely written and completely done, this MCP, this existence should also be like finished up, winded up. So this will also be like vanished away the same way my function will be like vanishing after uh, completion of its code and completion of its task, right? Is this clear that what is basically happening behind the scenes, how this JavaScript code is running? Is this clear to all? Just acknowledge in the chat box, guys. Is this clear? Because this was something which is important for everyone for us to know this, right? Clear. Okay, great. Prabhu saying yes, yes, sir, clear, clear, clear. Okay. For those whom this concept is little unclear, let's do one thing. Let's see it in our browser as well. That how things are being outshone and how things are being like done inside the browser, right? And simply refresh it. Okay. So this is basically my code only. Like this is what is written inside my code, right? So I'll be simply executing this function. I'll simply go to my console. I can see that yes, 100 inside fun and 50. Just in this case, inside this console, I can see 100 inside fun. And this 50 was being printed according to our knowledge of MCP and CEP. Okay. So now I want to see what exactly is happening. So what I'll do, I'll go to my source tab and I'll simply open up my app.js file at the same time, right? right? This is my code which is being written. This is my code, right? Which is being written inside my app.js file. And these are basically some things available with us, right? We don't know right now what these things are, but let's all just see what basically they are, right? Uh, I'll just let you know one more thing. Like uh, this global execution context, when it was created, right? It should have been like stored somewhere. It should have been like for in order it to run, it should have been present somewhere. So it is present inside this call stack. What is a call stack? A call stack is the place wherein all your code executes, right? So this GEC was created here, and when this execution context was created because of function, that EC was also put inside this call stack only. Call stack is a place uh, wherein all your code runs, right? All your code runs, right? Great. So let's see one by one that what exactly happening here is. How can I see it? I can simply add my breakpoints towards my code. Okay, I want to stop the execution of code at this line, so I'll simply mark a breakpoint here, right? By just clicking on the line number, you will be like marking up a breakpoint. See, we can see here breakpoints. I have marked a breakpoint on line number 10. What this breakpoint mean is my code will not execute the lines which are present at 10 and below it. Only first 9 lines will be executed. This 10th line, as well as the lines which are present after it, or I would say the flow of line which will be coming after this line 10 will not be executed. So I'll be simply giving like 2-3 breakpoints just in order to see what exactly the code is like running behind, right? So I've given 3 breakpoints. One is at line 10, one is at line 13, and one is at line 19. Okay. So the call stack is like not paused, and scope is also something which is like it is saying nothing is there. So what I'll do is I'll simply refresh uh, my code, right? I'll simply refresh my code. So if you see that this call stack, which was empty earlier, now it is having this anonymous inside it. What is this anonymous? This anonymous is our global execution context, right? You are having scopes and you are having call stacks. Before the execution of the code, they were empty, but after the execution, inside my call stack, I got something like anonymous, and here I got something like global. I'll make you see it again. Anonymous, what is anonymous? This is basically our global execution context only, our global execution context only, right? So if you see here that inside my scope there is global, and inside my call stack there is anonymous, right? Okay. So this is our GEC. Our GEC is being created. So let's check out our like what is there in my like what all things have been given a value. I said that we have MCP is also here, right? But first of all, before execution of any of the lines, this MCP takes place. Now I have given breakpoint to my first line, right? So no code have been initiated or started yet. So only MCP was assigned to my code, right? So let's see, is my MCP assigned or not? So what I have done is I've basically defined a variable x, as well as I've defined a function inside it. Let's try to find it out inside my global scope, right? Okay, let's see. Let's see that do we have any function named as fun? Then we can see yes, this fun function is being skimmed out by my memory creation phase, right? This is my fun function. I've written this function, right? Same. So this is being like skimmed out from my memory execution phase, and it should also contain my x value inside it. Let's find it. Okay, okay. Okay, see, here is my x, which I have defined as a variable inside it. I have inside it a value of 100, but yet my code is not executed. So our JavaScript engine is basically assigning it a value of undefined automatically. Is this clear that are we able to see that memory creation phase is working like towards its entire extent? Were we able to see that memory creation uh, phase was able to skim out the fun function, as well as the value of x, which is being assigned as undefined? Was it clear? MCP was, we were able to see the MCP in our browser as well. Please acknowledge. MCP was clearly shown in my browser, right? Uh, Is it clear? Yeah, just let me know, na, so that I can be a little confident that yes, you guys are able to grasp things, right? Okay, great, great, great. Right. So till now, none of our code has been executed. Only the MCP was like executed, and variables and functions were skimmed out. So we can see that X is undefined in this case. And inside my, if I just reduce it, I have just my anonymous as my call stack, right? This GEC, which I explained this way, this GEC inside my call stack, right? Let me do one thing. I'll go to my next line. How will I go to my next line? I have this paused and debugger there. I'll simply click it once and it will take me directly to the next line, which will be executed. Why it took me towards the line number 18? My green thing is here, right? So I'm on this breakpoint. It takes me to line number 18 because this function is there and we cannot move inside the function until unless we call the function, right? Okay, great. Uh, Now my like my browser is over line number 18. So all the functions which are below and on 18 will not be executed. So only 17 and above will be executed. So what would have happened is now inside my global, instead of X as undefined, this first line is executed, right? So this X would have been given a value of 100 now instead of undefined. See, we just saw that this X is being assigned to a value of 100 because this 18 line is yet to go and this first 10th line has been executed. Let's do one thing. Let's click it once more. Then if I this 18th line is executed and the flow of code came towards my 19th line. So if I check out my console as well, then I'm getting 100 printed here. Why 100? Let me just also see console.log x. It should have print 100. Why is it printing 200s? Line number 1. Okay, it might be because of some earlier code. So let's not worry about it. I'll make you see that again as well. Only one time 100 will be printed, right? Now the code of my, the flow of my code is on line number 19. This line number 19 is invoking one more function, is like about to invoke one more function because 19th line will not be executed. So if I check out in my call stack, then there is only anonymous and nothing else. And we have seen in our console that 100 is printed because of this line number 18. If I click it once more, then see, I have one more call stack named as fun inside my one more execution context which is present inside my call stack the same way I have shown you inside this function, right? After GEC, this EC would also be taken consider in the part of this call stack, right? Are you guys able to see that? Yes, there is a fun execution context which is present here, as well as along with the global scope, we have one more scope that is local scope, right? We have two more things added. Is this visible to you all? I just want you to be clear with this. That's why I'm asking you again and again. Like once it will be clear, you will be like very much confident in this. Is it clear? Is it clear till now? Clear till now? Okay, great, great, great. So now we were able to see that fun is also executed. Okay. Once execution context is created, then what has happened? What happens is again we get a, if you'll see here, again we get a memory creation phase as well as the code execution phase. This is my execution context because of my function, fun function, right? So what will basically would have happened inside this fun function is that before starting of any of the code, because I'm on line number 13, so this function is just, we are just inside the function. We have not entered any, or we have not just run any of the line inside the function, right? So this variables would have been skimmed out, variables as well as all the functions. So if I check it out inside my local scope, because variable is having a local, I'll be just explaining it again. Just listen to this line just right now. Variables, when they are present inside the function, they have local scope. Like when we are declaring them with the var declaration, right? So they have local scope. Just if you're not getting the stuff, just ignore it. But if you're getting it, that's well and good, right? So before this line is executed, the y is being skimmed out by the MCP, that is memory creation phase, and being given the value of undefined by the browser or by the JavaScript engine, right? Okay. Yeah, sorry. Let's move on to the next line. If I click it once more, the code is going towards the line number 14. And if we want to see this, that yes, this y is being given a value of 15 now, like this undefined is being replaced by 50 because this line is being executed. And if I see inside my code, then yes, I can see this inside fun is being there. Okay, great. Along with that, if I again go to my source, then I'll simply take a next step and click it here. Then this console.log y line will be there. It will only be printed when this line flow of code of 15th will be done. We are on 15th, so 15th will not be done, right? So we'll click it once more, and the line will be on 16th. And after this, line 16 will be ended, right? So this entire functionality of the code would have been also ended. So if I click it once more, and if before that, if I check like my value 50, that yes, 50 is there right now, which is present with us, the value of y. So if I click it like once more, just see here properly, this fun will like move away from our call stack, right? If I click it once more, then see this only anonymous is present as well as this local as well as this fun went away. Why? Because the functionality of fun is being done. So all the variables which are created inside this fun, as well as all the functions which are there and all the call stack, because this execution context, right? This execution context is also gone because its work is done. And since our global execution is also about to end, so I'll click on the next step, and simply now my global like will also be gone, because this is how we do it, right? This is how we simply uh, see how my execution context takes place. Like if I click it again, then it will simply move towards different things. So this is how will I end it, right? I'll simply, right? So my execution was totally done. If I just simply console it log again, like not with the breakpoints, I'll simply remove the breakpoints. If I'll run it again, then I want to see the console window, then yes, I'm getting inside like in the entire answer, which was like being told or like shared with the OneNote, right? Is this clear that how is the whole how is this MCP GEC are taking place? And sorry, a little sleepy again. How is this MCP and GEC taking place, as well as how the skimming out of variable takes place, how the function uh, is being invoked, and how this call stack is like entered, how local scope was also encountered because of another execution context. Are all these things clear to you guys till now? Don't think ahead of it. We'll be discussing few more things that slowly, gradually things will be clear. We'll be seeing it with the browser as well. Is the thing clear till now? That are will you be guys able to understand that how this JavaScript engine will be running behind the scenes, right? Interesting, na? This is nice, no? मजा आया ये देख के? Yes, sir, clear, sir, clear. Great, 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 great. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's try it with some other thing as well, so that it will be better for us to know, right? Uh, let's do one thing. Let's do it with one more example, so that one more concept will also be covered with that, and this will also be brushed, right? Uh, what should I write it? I should have given a global execution context shown in browser. Let's say example number one, right? Global execution context shown in browser, example number one. Cool. So I'll be simply copy pasting it, and I'll be saying it that example number two. It's my bracket. I'll be adding one more term once I'll be through with the like concept. Then I'll let you know. Okay, this was the concept, right? Uh, cool. Let's do one thing. I'll make a function. Let us make a function like A, B, C, D, whatever, like A, B, and they're making it a function of B. And I'm also declaring one more variable, like let's say C. What should be the value? 9, 8. Okay, let's make it 8, 7. Any value, any random value, hardly matters, right? So I'll be like consoling it out, console.log the value of, let's say console.log the value of this variable which I've declared, right? And I've declared this function. I need to invoke this function. Okay. Let me do one thing. I'm invoking it right up here. I'm invoking it right up here. And let me make one more variable as well. Let me okay, I'll be like doing it this way only. Console.log, let's say I'm consoling the value of A, and I'm making a, let's say, a variable A is equal to 100 value, right? Is the code visible to you all? Of course, it would be visible. Try to give me the output of this code without any discussion. Just pen it down in the chat box. I'll see it. What according to you will be the output of this code, right? Anything and any answer is accepted. We'll be discussing it for sure, but I need you guys to just give it a attempt first, right? That can we like move from 24 to 31 without any problem with us. Just take 1 or 2 minutes. This is a little different, so I'll be seeing it after 1 minute, right? Just let me know about the answers of the code. I guess we are getting good answers. Let me just check it out once. 87 will be printed. 87. Just one thing is very clear. I have two console statements, right? I have two console statements, so that is for sure two outputs will be definitely there. I don't know what are the possible outputs. So two outputs are definitely there. So if you are trying to give me the answer, then just give it in like double answer, not just a single answer, right? 100 will not print, but 87 will. NaN undefined. Great, great. Some of you are right. Some of you are like a little confused, but that is like valid reason because that is why this concept is being explained. Great, 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 great. Like many of you are correct now, and let's see what we are getting as an answer. Let's see the answer first. Okay, great, great. Let's discuss what is this important. Acha. Great, man, great. Undefined as far as it is not declared. So okay, let's see, Asta. Okay, let's see now. Focus here. If I'll go to my, like, let me just go to simple console, then this is my output. It is showing me undefined as well as 87. If I just try to explain you why undefined, then of course I'm on line 24. That this line 24 does not know what this a value is having right now. Right. I don't know the compiler, the executor, the JavaScript engine does not know what is A considering inside it, right? So again, let's just copy it out. Let's copy paste it from here. They're like, it will be brushing up your two concepts, right? I'll be just making it little intent so that it's little visible better. I guess it's, hope so it's good, right? So now you guys know that before any of the code of JavaScript is executed, we do have a global execution context with us. I'll make a global execution context. Okay, this is my GEC. GEC consists of two parts. One is the MCP. Yeah, really poor handwriting here. Drawing handwriting, whatever you say. Right. We have a MCP, that is memory creation phase, and we have a CEP, code execution phase, right? And this entirely is my global execution context. And how is it working? We have a call stack. Inside my call stack, this GEC is encountered first, and this GEC is working. And let's say this is my console, right? Let's say this is my console. So this all my basic setup is done. So before any code of a JavaScript is run, what happens is this MCP skims out all the variables and functions from it. Now, what are the variables? Is that a variable? No. Is that a variable? No. Is that a variable? No. But it is a function, right? It is a function. So this function B will be given as it is all the values which are present inside it. Like as it is, it will be written console.log statement also as it is. And this function is now skimmed out in our MCP. Now, okay, this function is basically done. So is this a variable? Yes, this A is a variable value. So this A will be skimmed out, and what will our JavaScript engine do? It will give it a value of undefined. Okay, it will give me a value of undefined now. Now my entire code is being observed and skimmed out. Skimming has taken place. Skimming, or I would say extraction. Extraction. Anything is there. Like you can use any of the term, hardly matters. But it's like you should know how things work. Okay, since MCP is now done. Now, again, we'll start executing the code from top to bottom, but in the code execution phase. Okay. What is the first line? The first line we encounter is console.log A. Now, this CEP, the first line will go towards my MCP and check what is the value of my A. It will see, okay, the A is being given a value of undefined. That is by default because of the browser. So what it will do is it will not print 100, it will print undefined because right now 100 is not defined. 100 will be defined when my code flow will go top to bottom and then this line will be encountered, right? Only then this code would have been changed the value of A to 100. And before that, we have already consoled the value of A. So this A right now is present undefined. So that's why we'll be getting undefined inside my console. I'll be getting undefined inside my console. Okay, so this line is being done. Okay, we'll move towards the next line. What is the next line? The next line is calling out B. Okay, what is the B function? What does calling out B means? So this second line, this I would say this is the first line taking place. Second line, the second line will check out, do we have a B function? Okay, if you go to the MCP, this also can go to MCP. Then yes, B function is present with us, which is already skimmed out inside my MCP. Okay, this B is present, and whenever a function is invoked, an execution context is created. Right, this execution context is created here, and again, above my GEC, this EC will be created inside my call stack. This is my call stack. I forgot to write, but it's like understood. And inside this execution context, two more phases we are having. One is our MCP, that is memory creation phase. Another is our CEP, that is code execution phase. Okay, clear. Now, entering this function and basically invoking this function is like entering this function. We have entered the function. This is my EC of B function, right? This is my EC of B function. So what we'll do, we'll basically skim out the values. Let's see, we have a variable. Yes, we have a variable. Do we have a function? No, we do not have any function inside it. So this C will be given a value of undefined because it's not been invoked yet. Okay, great. Now the invocation will take place. That is MCP work is done. So the CEP work will start. If the CP work will start, now this C, this is the first time which will be encountering. This C will be given the value of 87. So if I'll simply execute my first line, then this undefined will be switched to 87. Okay, great. 87 is done. And after that, this console statement is being printed. Console statement is saying print the value of C. Okay, the second statement is there. It will check, do we have the value of C? Yes, we have a value of C. And what is the value? It is 87. So this 87 will be printed in this case. And after printing this function's rule is done. Like this function's complete rule is done. So this will be ended, and this execution context will also be moved out of my call stack because the work of entire function is being done. So two things are printed, and after that, what will happen? It will move towards the next line of the code. The next line of the code is saying that variable A is given the value of 100. Right now, this is like removed from my call stack. Now this is removed from my call stack because my function is being invoked and done. After it being removed, the next line was this. I guess this is line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the sixth, seventh line. Right. So since A will be given a value of 100. So it will check what was the previous value of A. Now this undefined will be moved on to 100 and the code execution is now completed. Right. Is it clear that how we are getting undefined and how we are getting 87? And if we would have like written one more statement after this variable A, that let's say again console.log A after this 100, then it would have given me the value 100 because now this undefined is changed to 100. And if we'll see and check it out in our browser, right, then we'll see that yes, 100 is also being printed because of this uh, third output, right? Because of this, I would say the third output. Just a second, just a second. Right. Yeah, tell me. Anybody was asking something, right? Like someone was there. Like, is it clear now or should I wait? Okay, just others also let me know that is the concept clear that how we are getting undefined and what is the reason behind getting undefined? Should not the output be undefined 87 and 100 instead of It is undefined only, right? Let me make you see that again. See, undefined is there, 87 is also there, and 100 is also there. There are three outputs. See, line 24, line 29, line 32, undefined, 87 and 100. Three outputs are there. You are right, Avisha. Like there will be three outputs, and your outputs are also correct. Okay, clear. Like, what about others? Things are clear. Like, how is it happening, and how things are basically taking place, and how, like, why undefined? Like, others also acknowledge, please, yeah, so that I can get to know that things are clear or not. Great, Amisha. Great, Abhay. Swati. Great. Great, man. Great. Things are clear, right? Okay. So I just told you. Okay, clear, clear, great. So I just told you that I'll be explaining one more concept after explaining this thing, right? So this concept is called hoisting. Okay, this concept is called hoisting. Now, what hoisting is, let me explain, and then again I'll give it a small explanation to it. Like, what is hoisting? I don't like red pen. Uh, okay, what is hoisting? See, basically, um, like I would say, before the declaration of, even before the declaration of any variable or function, we are able to access the values, access its values. We are able to access its values. This concept is basically known as hoisting, right? What was happening inside a case was, generally what we do is, we know that like inside a normal programming languages, what happens is, you cannot use a function until unless you have defined it above it. Like, either you declare it just by a line, okay, I'm using this function, and you can write the function after your main, or you generally write your functions above the main, right? So you need to declare them before your main function, so that the compiler gets to know that, okay, we do have something, namely this function, namely like this of function, right? But in this case, if you will directly see, if you forget other things and just see like a different programming language, then this console.log statement is there. Before that, A was not defined. The A was not defined, right? The value of A was like totally unaware. And if this MCB would not have taken place, this we could have never got the value of A, right? So this accessing the value or getting the value of any variable before even initializing it, we are initializing it here, but we are accessing it here, right? Before even initializing it is basically hosting. And similarly goes for this function. This function is being declared here, but I am accessing this function here, right? Access is here, declaration is here, and declaration is here, right? So before even initializing or declaring any function, I'm accessing it, I'm using it. So this is what basically hoisting is, right? This is what hoisting is. Even before its declaration, you are able to use the variable as well as the function. This is like what hoisting is. Like, simple concept. Like people generally say that above the function we write the variable, we write the function calling. That is like which is not properly justified. So the proper definition would be like, uh, before even encountering or creating the function, we are able to access its value as well as we are able to access the function. So this basically is the role of uh, hoisting. Like, is hoisting clear? Like, concept was clear to you guys. Now you guys got to know that. But for variable, it depends on how your variable is being declared. If it's being declared with the like var declaration, then it will show undefined. But in the let and const, it will show some little difference because of the dead temporal one. We'll discuss it in the like coming examples. Don't worry. That's why I was saying, just be with me. Don't think anything ahead of it, and just like understand what is being taught right now. Let and const will come. Their functionality will also be shown. But right now, just be with var, right? No confusions, just var till now, right? So yes, with the var declaration, we'll be getting what about first degree function? We'll be like discussing about it, or you can like simply like that's a very small thing. Just Google it yourself, right? Just Google it yourself. Uh, all these are small things, right? So everything cannot be dot, but just understand the concept, right? Just be here first. Is this clear to everyone? Others also let me know. Na, yaar, is the hosting clear? Because hosting is like something which is like always asked by the interviewers, and like that's really important, right? Chalo, great, great. I'm getting a good response, and I feel it's great, right? Uh, Let us do one more question. I'll be asking you the. Okay, okay, I got it. I'll be writing the code again, like some of the code again. Okay, great. I'll be writing some of the code again, and you just let me know about the output first, right? Okay, not this way. I'll be um, just give it example three, nothing else. I'll be defining it later on. Let's say I am again having a function B only, right? B function inside my B function, I can create one more function C, uh, and inside it, let's say, let me call it here. Uh, Let me define a variable A. Let's assume B. B C D हो जाएगा फिर. Here as well as let's say change the number, right? 100 is like very common. Let's make it 999 or 4 times 9. Uh, Function B is there. I'm calling my function. I'll be declaring it with a variable function C. Okay, inside my function C, I'll simply console log the value of B. I'll simply ask you to console the value of B. And let's say we need to declare one variable outside also. Right. I want to declare a variable. Let's say A is being 100, not 100, yeah. A is being 45. Let's say. Okay, let's assume 455. Any number is there. Okay. Now I need to console.log. I'll be consoling it here. Let's see how clear your concepts are. Function is there. Okay, I'm not calling function B, right? I need to call function B as well. Unless because of that it will not work. Variable is there, function is there, function is invoking inside a function. Like, okay, great, great. Okay, right. So this is the code. You guys let me know about the output. What is like possible output according to you guys for this code, right? For this example three. Uh, Use your brains. Use the concepts which you have learned yet, and just try to tell me the output of it, like in a proper way, whatever suits you the most, right? Take 2 minutes time. This is also a good question. Someone has already sent the answer, I guess. Undefined. Okay, let's see. Others also like take 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll discuss this problem, right? Let me just see what all are the answers. Undefined, 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 undefined. Good, good. Array, great man, great. Okay, take time. I want everyone to just uh, type their answers in the chat box here. I want everyone to type their answers there. Very amazing, man. Uh, so, man, really good, really good. Okay, so let's see what the output is. It is showing me undefined and undefined. Uh, yeah, yeah, everyone, those who are writing two undefineds, like they all were right, they all are still right. Amazing, man. Great, 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 great work, great work. Really great work. See, the output which is present or coming with us is undefined and undefined only. Why is it happening? We'll check it both the ways, either by creating this MCP as well as in our browser as well, right? Okay. Again, let me just copy the code first so that it will be easy for me to remember the lines, right? पानी दे दो चाय में पानी दे दो Right. Okay. Sorry for the disturbance, right? Yeah, okay. So, I'm just intending the code. Uh, and this indentation is, I guess, visible. Right. Okay. If I switch it toward left, right. Great. This is my code. And we all know that this memory creation phase will be created. And inside it, I would be creating it a little different way because I know that I would need a little more space for it. Memory creation phase, code execution context, or code execution phase, anything you want to say, that is like fine. This is my call stack. Inside my call stack, my GEC would be present, and this is my console. Right, this is my console. Okay, let's move ahead and go line by line. What is the first line that will be like? What is the first step? The first step will be MCP, skimming out the variables and the functions. Uh, okay, so what will be the first step in the MCP? MCP will be like, okay, I'll skim out the variables as well as the functions. Okay, so this is the first thing which we are encountering right now. This B is my function which is being encountered. Okay, so this B will be given the definition entirely here, right? B is being assigned. Great. Now it will move that, okay, do we have one more variable or do we have one more function inside it? Then no, we don't have any more function, but yes, we do have a variable. Skimming out this A, and what will you be providing with the value? Will you be providing with the value of undefined? Clear? Okay. So now this MCP work is done. We'll start from this code execution phase. Like this execution will go from top to down. Execution will go from top to down. What will be the first line that will be encountered? The first line encountered will be consoling this log value of A. Okay, this first line is encountered here. What is the value of A according to our MCP? This GEC will go towards our MCP, check the value of A, then yes, I'm getting undefined. So it simply prints undefined here, right? It simply prints undefined here. Great. Now the code of flow will move towards the next line, but since it's a function, so it cannot be like driven unless we call the function, right? So this first line of code will ultimately go and jump towards the line number 2, wherein this B is being invoked. Now the B is being invoked, right? So this 2 is encountered. Whenever a function is being invoked, then we simply create a global execution, another execution context. Really sorry, not the global. Global is just one. This is my global GEC, and this is my another EC, that is execution context. Okay. What we are doing here is we are creating again this MCP as well as this uh, CEP, MCP, memory creation phase, and this code execution. Let me make his phase as well, or context is like both are equally both are the same thing, right? So we are not worried about it. So this function is being invoked. So this execution context is being created. Now execution context fall towards this function B. So what will happen? MCP will again do its work. MCP will skim out all the variables and functions. The first variable which it will encounter is D. Okay, so this D will be given the value of undefined, right? This D will be given the value of undefined. And after this, we'll be checking out for the functions. Okay, now I'm getting the C as the function with me. I'll create this C function. I'll write all the values which are present inside it. The entire function will be given the value as it is. Okay, so there is no more things there. Only one variable was there as well as only one function was there. Great. Now this MCP task is done. So this function which was being invoked, now this CEP step will take place. Right, the function will again move line by line. Okay, the first line which will be encountered in this function will be this C calling, and we know whenever a function is like being executed or the function is like the function is executed, right? Another global execution context will take place. So this third execution context, first is the global, second is for this line, I would say this was for B function, and now this execution context is basically for my C. Right, this execution context is for my C. What will happen? This MCP will take place, the CEP will take place, And inside this MCP and CEP, again, the normal task, my MCP will go and try to skim out all the variables. Do we have any of the variable inside my function C? No, we do not have. Okay. Do we add any of the functions? No, we do not have. Then this MCP task is also done. Now, MCP task for execution context of C is done, but the CEP, that is code execution context, code execution phase is left, right? So this line is where we'll be encountering now. We'll encounter console.log of D, right? This line is there. We'll be encountering the line D, and we'll be like trying to print the line D here. Do we have D here? Do we have any value of D related to like D or undefined, any value assigned to it? No. Then what will it go? Where will it go? It will go towards its parent. Who is its parent? Where from wherein the CEP is working? It will go here. And inside this CEP, it will ask for the value, bhai, please give me the value of D. Okay. It will go towards this parent CEP, will go towards the D part. And okay, the D here is having the value of undefined. So simply, it will go towards this parent. Simple try for the value of D. Again, D here is undefined. The D is not being given the value yet. So the undefined is being printed. Now, after being printed, wait, I just forgot to write this EC of B here and this EC of C here, right? I just forgot to write this inside my call stack. And that is like clear and not a big thing, right? This task is done. Once this task is done, this will be thrown out of this call stack. This thrown out of this call stack will be like this work is like gone. This is done now. Okay, great. This is done. Line number 1 is done. So what we'll do, we'll go towards my parent CEP and we'll check for the different execution which I left inside my function B. Only this was being done till now. Now this D is being given the value of 999. So now if I like, I'll make it little small, right? I'll try to remove it right now. I'll make it little small so that I can do other functions as well here, right? I'm making it little small just for your reference that, okay, we were doing something here, right? D was not present. D was not present. So it'll go towards its parent, right? Okay. So now my code of flow is here. Now this D is being assigned a value of 999, right? Now this undefined is being now switched from undefined to 4 times 9 or how many times 9, I don't know. Hardly matters, this number. Again, this part is done. It will go towards the function. Again, the function will not be invoked. Hardly matters to us because there's no invocation. We cannot go inside the function before its invocation. So this line will directly switch here. Now this function B's scope is also done. So after like this B is being done, this is also thrown out of our call stack. So this is also now thrown out. I would say thrown here. Thrown 1. This is thrown first. This is thrown second. And after that, we'll again go out to our main global execution context ka CEP. And this was invoked. Now the line will be here. Variable A is being given the value of 455. Now this undefined here will be given the value of 455. And my entire code is being ended. And yes, this execution context, this global execution context will also be thrown out of my call stack. And now the ultimately call stack will be empty. Since my call stack will be empty, so there's nothing to do with my call stack or my JavaScript engine. Is this clear? Explanation is not defined, so we give. Achha, you were giving me the explanation. Okay, it's okay, man. Is it clear the way things are happening? How many call stacks were created? How it goes towards its parent and asks for the value of D? This is because of scope. I'll be telling you what scope is in a while. Is it clear till now to everybody? I know it is clear because everyone was able to give me the answer undefined, but it was like little important for you to know about this scope thing as well, because the D was giving the value from the parent, not from the local scope, right? So that was important to make you guys aware of. Things are clear till now. I am getting a good response. I'm very happy with that you guys are able to grasp this thing because this is something which is very important. This should have been like known to each one of us. Right. Okay. So we'll be seeing it in a browser as well, but after a break of 5 minutes, I'll need to have a sip of water as well as tea. So just 5 minutes break, and they'll be seeing this in our browser. Or I guess there is no need to see it in the browser. We'll check out depending on the scenario. We'll see it, and we'll need to discuss about scopes as well. And after that, we'll be learning one or two more concepts, right? Just 5 minutes break, we'll be coming right back. Till that time, you can see this and observe this, right? Till that time, you can observe. Okay, shall we start again? Like, I guess we are good to go again, right? Okay, so cool. Things were clear. Things were clear till now. Do you want to see it in the browser as well, or is it like okay, we are good enough? We can do it on our own, right? You guys want to see it in the browser, or it's like we shall proceed ahead? I'm audible, right? Please acknowledge in the chat box now. You want to go ahead or you want to see it in the browser as well? Yes. What is yes? Acha, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Proceed. And proceed stands for like next topic or with the browser. Great, Bhumika. Great, Rahul. Great. Okay, next topic. Great, great. Okay. So we next topic, next topic, next topic. Right, sir. Next topic. Topic is development. Great. Okay, so basically, I was about to explain you about scopes, right? What scopes are and what basically it means inside my JavaScript. So according to the definition, scopes is nothing. They are like lexical environment, right? According to the definition, they are a lexical environment. Just try to see what I'm explaining, right? Scopes are basically lexical environment. Now, what this lexical environment is now, I know how things are working, but how is it actually asking it to work, right? Lexical environment is basically local memory. It's basically local memory plus the memory of the parent. Like the parents, I would say lexical environment of their parents, right? Again, I'm using this word lexical environment of their parents, right? Of the parents. Great, great, done. Now, what is the lexical environment of the parents? Again, this lexical environment of the parents is like local memory of them plus lexical environment of their parents and so on. It will move towards the time of lexical environment of global execution phase, right? Everything was created inside this GEC, right? So at a max, wherein we can go is like parent of GEC, like lexical environment of GEC. So this lexical environment of GEC is called null. Lexical environment of GEC is null, right? Lexical environment of, I would say, GEC, global execution context, is null. So once it reaches towards the highest hierarchy, it reaches towards the higher place, this null is being encountered if that variable or whatever function is not defined. Then it simply throws me the error, okay, you cannot perform this function that because of some variable is not defined or function is not being declared, or I would say you cannot access the variable before declaration. All these things can be like the possible errors which we can encounter, right? So just keep this mind. Scopes are nothing. They're just a lexical environment. And what does lexical environment means? Lexical environment is basically the local memory along with the lexical environment of the parent. And this lexical environment itself is like a chaining kind of thing. It moves at a max towards the lexical environment of their global execution context. And parent of, I would say, the lexical environment of global execution context is null. So after this null is encountered, it means that you are not able to find your variable or function inside it. So that's why it will throw an error and you'll not be able to perform the function entirely. Hope so. This is clear, right? So just keep in mind my uh, global execution context ka lexical environment is null. Just keep this in mind. This is important. Like this can be asked sometimes environment. It can be asked sometimes in the interview as well. This is null. Also, they can ask you about Acha, they can ask you about JavaScript is singly threaded or multiple threaded. So JavaScript is singly threaded. Just the key pointers. You can like read it from browser as well. Like just go to any of the browser and read about JavaScript. They are singly threaded. JavaScript is asynchronous, and JavaScript is, I would say, weakly typed, right? Weakly typed, and I would say they are dynamically typed, right? Weakly and dynamically typed. Like the interview might try to confuse you by some ways, but just keep in mind just these 5 points and read about them in your like go to MDN or anywhere, MDN or simple just Google out stuff. This stuff can be easily Googled. So just read about them, but what all these 5 parameters means to you and what is their importance, right? Great. So hope so things are clear, and we'll be moving on to our next topic, that is higher order functions. I guess higher order function was the one, right? Higher order functions, right? Higher order functions. And this is really like a very like different, I would say, a very different as well as very important stuff in JavaScript. Like higher order functions are basically considered to be as of those functions which can uh, I'll write it down at the same time. Those functions which can accept another function as an argument, or or we can simply say that those functions which can or returns some function, like it can be any function, right? Returns some function from it. Uh, like in a layman language, I would say if we have two functions, right? Let's assume this is my function one, this is my function two. If my function one is like having an argument, and this argument is basically considering itself as a value of function, right? The function is being passed as an argument here. Then this one is the higher order function. And if we are returning, like we do returns from the function as well, right? We return some value, let's say x, return 10, right? But if we return this entire function from inside my one function, I am returning two as my entire function. This first function is basically known as higher order function. Like according to the definition, is it clear? Like those functions which can accept another function as a parameter or as an argument, or I would say those who can return the function from it, right? Returns the entire function. Like this entire word is very important. This entire function from it, right? Clear according to the definition, it is clear, right? We'll be seeing it with an example again, but definition is clear, right? Okay, okay. Abhishek saying clear. Let's wait for one more person. Just like decoration, I'm not very like fluent with Python. I'm really sorry. I'm not fluent with Python. I tried Python once, but it was like I didn't like it because everything was pre-written. I tried for like 2 days and I then left Python. Right? I know I can learn it very easily, but my inclination is more towards C++ as well as towards JavaScript, right? So I'm not very sure of Python. Clear, sir, clear. Great. I also prefer C++ over Python. And that's totally like dependent on the work, and like, that's totally like what work you want to pursue further. Like if you want to be in data science and if you want to be in machine learning and all, then you cannot make C++ as your first language, and you cannot be like working over it again and again. So it totally depends on work, right? So I also like competitive programming, right? So I preferred C++ earlier. So that's why I like it's okay. Like you guys can choose anything. Just learning one programming language is more than sufficient. You can easily switch from one to other, and it takes time, but it's perfectly fine. Okay. We were on higher order functions, right? Let me do one thing. Uh, I'll make one more folder so that it is like definable higher order functions. Right, higher order functions. If I go here, create a folder, index.html, and if I go for app.js inside my index.html, I'll be simply adding higher order function. Attach your app.js. Okay, great. Let us just see is my style sheet being linked properly. How can I do it? I simply console.log one statement. See, okay, it's coming. My app.js is being loaded, right? Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm giving you example of higher order functions, right? Higher order function. Uh, I'll give you both the examples, right? Example one, this is of right. Okay, we'll make first, then we'll decide कि हम कौन सा बना रहे हैं, right? Let me make a function. Function. Let me name is that again fun. I'll be passing the, I'll be first calling a function, right? I'll be like, so that it's easy for me to take the values. I'll be calling this fun function. I'll be giving it two parameters. One is the function itself, and one is, let's assume I'm giving it a value of 87. Okay. And I want it to be having inner fun as a function, and I want to create an inner fun function again. A function inner fun. And inside this here fun, I'll be simply writing console dot log. Let's say inside fun. Okay, I've invoked the function. Function is there. I need to take two arguments. One argument can be of my, let's say, x, another can be of any. I can't use fun only. I'll use func. And inside my func, let me do one thing. Let me console the value first. Console the value of I would say x. And after consoling a value of x, I can also um, inside inner fun, right? This is inner fun. I'll write the same statement above. That is that I'm inside this only fun function, not inner fun. Okay. And I can also give it a. Okay, I'll do two things, right? I'll show you two things. Console.log uh, func as well, and invoking this fun function as well, right? Or I can like invoke this fun function as well. Func function is being invoked here, right? So, what according to you can be the possible output for this code, right? What according to you can be the possible output? Just take 1 or 2 minutes time, observe the code, and try to give me like the output which is possible, right? According to you guys, I just want to see that how clear you are about this concept, right? Take 1 or 2 minutes and try to give me an output, right? Take time, don't be in a hurry, but do it rightly and properly. Great. Take time, don't be in a hurry. I'll be checking it 1 or 2 minutes so that others can also see it, right?
Sir,
Uh, just a second. Huh? Yeah, take.
so instead of fun, shouldn't we write name of the function?
Uh, have you done any of the programming language before?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what basically happens is whenever we call a function via parameter, right? So it is not compulsory to use the same variable. We can use any of the variable. Even if I'll write inner fun here or any of for any gibberish content, right? So I can access it, right? There is no problem in using any of the variable name while accessing the values, right? For your ease, if you are having little comfort, like less comfort with that, I can simply copy this word and paste it here or whatever I've been passed as a parameter in this place, but this will also work properly. Just assume that yes, this will work. Don't be confused, right? This is possibly like very much fine. This is like the way we do it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just relate this to other programming languages. We just don't declare the data type here because we don't have this like we don't declare data types in this case, but this is how we do it. Let me see who all have given the answers yet. Uh, I also prefer, okay, this was 7 inner fun, 87 side fun, side inner fun. Uh, observe the code little carefully, like a little carefully. You guys are almost right, but a small differences there. Observe it for like 1 or 2 more minutes, right? Okay, like observe it for 1 or 2 more minutes. For console statement, so for sure there will be 4 ultimate answers, then just be a little more precise with things. Like a small mistake, just mistake which most of you are doing, right? Just a small mistake. But no worries, we'll see this. Take 1 more minute, then we'll discuss over this, right? Just 1 more minute, then we'll discuss. Right, fun. Great, great, man, great. On 7 isn't passes. On 1 7, on in 7. Okay, let's let's see what our output is like. Let's see this first. Right. See, I am getting this entire function inside my console for line number 7. This func line number 7, that is my third console, will show me the entire output, not something like inside fun or inside inner fun. Most of you were writing inside fun, inside inner fun, but only one person was there, just name the entire full definition will be function will be printed, right? So we just told you, right, that we can pass the entire function, like in the memory creation phase, the entire function is being stored, right? In the memory creation phase, pura ka pura function gets stored in the MCP. So this like this will definitely be like storing entire function, and we can definitely like log out the entire function at the same time, right? So that is why it is happening. But rest after inside function, 87 inside function. Okay, so you guys are still telling the answers. Great. Okay, so if we'll see the output, then of course 87. Why 87? 87 because of this x, which is being called here, this console.log x. Then inside fun, then we see yes, inside fun is there. This console.log function will consider the entire function which is being written. The entire function is being written here, like inner fun function, which is like the replacement. I would say the parameter of this inner fun. This function is being written here. Now this func is being called. So this func is being called. Then this function is like invoked. If this function is invoked, then console.log inner fun is there, and inner fun is being printed. Okay, that's great. I should we see it in like, let's do one thing. Let's see this in the browser as well. Right? Let's see this in the browser as well. I know that's a little big task. You want to see this in the browser, or we can ignore it. Let's do one thing. You try it yourself only. I'm just copy. You have the code, right? You'll try it yourself only, and we'll be seeing that. Okay, what exactly is being done and what exactly is being there, right? I'm explaining you things in the OneNote, right? I'll be explaining in the OneNote. You have the code. Try to see it in the browser by yourself. I'll simply just tell you the functionality of the code, right? Okay, great. So what basically happening is here, what we are doing is we have a function fun, like we have a function fun. These two won't be executed unless this calling will be done, right? This is the first statement that will be executed. Inside this fun, I've passed two parameters. One is just my number. Okay, there is no issue with passing with the numbers. I can pass the number. I can easily catch it with the value, any of the variable there. Cool, no worries. Now I am passing this inner fun. Okay, I don't know this inner fun. What is it? Inner fun. I'll find for the inner fun. Okay, I got this inner fun as the function. Now I am basically passing this inner fun function in a function itself, right? So this func argument will be accepting this entire function from here. So this is basically a fun function is accepting a function as a argument, right? This inner function will be acting as an argument, right? So this fun function is basically my higher order function, right? This fun function is basically my higher order function. And if we'll try to see, like just take a glimpse, not making the GEC, then what will happen is initially these two will be skimmed off in the memory creation phase. Both the functions will be skimmed off. Now, once this func is called, right, this x is being given the value of undefined initially, and then given the value of let's say 87. after being provided with the value of 87, this console.log x will be taken place. This x is like equal to the value of 87, right? This x would have taken place and console out print simply console log the value. This is also a simple string statement. So we are directly printing it right here. Now this function has been included, like invoked. This function has been invoked. Now it will check in the MCP that is there anything which we are having, namely which is equal to the func as well. Yeah, this func is basically equal to this inner fun. Now this inner fun will be the function that will be invoked. So another CE will be created, that is context. EC will be created, that is execution context, and inside again MCP takes place. There is no variable, no function. So that is why nothing will be done with the MCP. Now this CP of my second EC will be there, and inside this inner function, inner inside fun will be there. That will be printed, and uh, simply after this execution, we'll be like ending up with 4 outputs of course. Like this is what you can also try in your browser. And this is example of, let me just remove this. It's looking really like very filthy, right? Then I'm just removing this stuff just so that you can just keep this in mind, right? So this is the example how we can pass like the entire function as the argument, right? Entire function as an argument. This is like passing the function as an argument inside another function. Higher order ka first definition, and the second definition which we told was to return, like this was the first, like can accept another function as an argument. This we discussed with an example. Now we can also see that how we can, we discussed about this only, right? We discussed about this only. Then we can also see that how we can return some of the functions from it. Just a second. This is like showing me the reality of Z index. Let me just like do it back again, right? Okay, so great. If I'll see it again, then I'll be using this example of return function again, right? So let us make one more function. Where is my code? Yeah, this is the first code wherein we can pass as a function as a parameter. Now I'll be seeing I'll be just directly copy pasting it, right? Copy pasting it from here. And example 2, you like passing the function, like returning the function. Here you'll be seeing the example of returning the function as function from another function, right? So what we can do is we can again simply create a fun function, right? I'm creating a function fun. Inside my fun, I'll be yeah, what does it have? Inside this function fun, what I'll do is I'll simply be writing, like, let's say I'll simply console the value. Sorry. I'll simply console the value. What value I want to console? Let's assume I simply want to say that I'm inside my fun function. Inside my fun function. And after that, I'll be like saying, I'll be making one more function from it, right? Function, again, inner fun. Let's make it fun. Uh, inner fun. And inside my inner fun, I'll simply console.log again that, okay, I'm not doing much mehnat here. Inside inner fun, inside my inner fun function, right? And ignore the spellings that they just for like references. Fun inside my inner fun, I want to, should I return it from here only or should I make it, okay, let's make it a little easy for you. Let's return it inner fun like this. And of course, if I return something, I need to catch it up in a like, let's say a variable. Let's make a variable of, let's say let my answer is equal to, I'm getting this inner function, right? So I'll be basically getting this answer only when this function is involved. So I will be calling this function here, and I'll simply I'll be saving the function here. On step is there, and simply I'll be simply invoking my answer, right? Let me just check the flow of code so that it's easy for you to tell me the output, right? Function is there. Inside the function, I'm having console statements. Inside this, I'm having inner fun as well. Inside inner fun, I'm returning it as an inner fun. Okay, great. I'm saving this fun function. Okay, this fun function is being executed. The answer is being saved here. When this answer is there invoked, then we can do it as well, right? Okay, so tell me the output of this code. Tell me the output of this, you guys, please. tell me the output of this. Is it visible, right? Yeah. Where's the code? Okay, there is the code. Tell me the output of this code. What would be the output in this case? Take 2-3 minutes, observe the code, and try to tell me like the answer in the proper order, right? Don't do it wrong because of a hurry, but do it like getting answers. Let's see inside my fun function, inside my inner fun. Okay, great. Others also try it. I'm just getting 4-5 people giving me answers. There are about 120 people. I'm not saying that if the things are not clear, then don't ask. You can ask, of course. Inside my fun, inside my fun. Then okay, great man. You guys are doing it great. Okay, let's see what my answers turns out to be. If I go to my console, then yes, inside my fun function and then inside my inner fun. Like every one of you were right here. Like everyone was right. Great. Now let us just simply copy paste it here inside my note. What happened? Inside my great, great man. Everyone is right, man. Pretty good. If I'll just simply copy paste here, I'll give it a indentation as well. But before that, I need to write that. Okay. Uh, this is basically my function passed as uh, passed as argument, or I would say parameter, anything for that matter. And here the first I'll do the indentation here so that it looks neat. Okay, you're telling the answers only. Right. Okay, so if I figure it out this way, then this is my function being returned, being returned from another function, right? From another function, other function, right? Okay, so what basically happening here is this is my function. This will not be invoked unless this any of the function is being called. If you just ignore this line for a moment, then what happened? What is happening here is this fun function is being invoked, right? This fun function is being invoked. But initially, what will happen is if we'll try to console. Okay, let's do one thing. Tell me what will be the output if I'll simply write console.log of answer before this? Like, what will be the output if I uh, write console.log of output, console.log of answer before this function invocation? Like, what will be the output? Let me change the code as well. Just a small line is being added. That is, I'm simply adding console.log of answer before it. As I'm not shared it with let, right? Ignore it. I'm not shared my concepts with the let. Ignore it for the moment, right? Really sorry. Ignore it. Ignore it. Really sorry, yeah. Really sorry to bother. Okay, so what basically happening here is we do have a function calling here. We do have function calling. What will go? It'll go towards this function. This function is being executed now. Now, the first thing which has been encountered is this line. So the first line inside of my console that will be printed is inside my main function, like inside my fun function. Sorry, inside my fun function. Right. This will be like printed first. This is my console. Right. This will be printed first. Now, this fun function is also defined here. Is it executed? No, it is not executed. So we cannot go inside this function. Okay. What is happening there is I'm directly returning this inner function. I've defined this inner function. I'm directly returning this inner function. And what will happen is like whenever we return something, we return it from where we have called it from the fun function. Now the statement is somewhat like that my ANS is equal to my inner function, right? My inner function word is equal to my basically let answer, right? So if I want to invoke this inner function as well, what I want to do is I'll simply like I am having this variable answer as my inner function, right? I need to invoke my answer variable so that this inner function can also be invoked because of this uh, like this answer variable. Like this inner function will be invoked when I'll be invoking my answer. Then after invoking my answer, what will it go? It will go towards my I would say it will go towards my inner fun function, and it will simply print the value of console.log inside my inner fun, right? Inside my inner fun, right? This was the basic output, or this was the basic concept. Now the question arises, be a little uh, with me, what I am asking, just try to understand my concept, try to understand my question, right? This is my call stack. Be very careful what I'm asking, just be careful with me. This is my call stack, right? My global execution would have taken place. Okay, global execution would have taken place. After that, this fun execution context would have taken place. Okay, this fun execution context will be taken place. Like fun ka execution context was taking place. Pretty much clear till now. We have this inner fun inside my execution context of this fun function, right? But once I move out of my function, that is once all are being done from my fun function, then I am like invoking the value. But we got to know that whenever we just like whenever the task of our function is done, then it gets thrown out of my call stack, right? This existence of my function is not there anymore, and this is thrown out of my context, right? Then how I am able to get this value of function, right? Then also I'm able to get inner function. I can make you see in the code as well that yes, I'm getting this inner function. But my question is, since my fun function is being executed from top to bottom, it returned the value, right? It returned the value, but after returning, what happened is my execution context is being deleted. So there is no definition left, which is of inner fun. This since this function is like the scope is being deleted because of completion of the function. This EC, which was there, it is now deleted. Then how am I able to get this inner fun as my output, or I would say, how am I able to invoke this inner fun? Can anybody answer me this concept? Like how I am able to get this, but my execution context is deleted, and despite of returning the value, that would have like I've returned the value, but I've not returned everything from it, right? So how am I able to? Shantanu is aware, but should have waited for 1 or 2 minutes to answer me this. Yeah, I wanted to create a hype for this. Clear. Good, Shantanu. Others are also like aware of this closure. I asked you to study about this. I hope so that you guys are able to get the question that, okay, my execution context is now thrown out of my call stack, but then also I'm able to access the function which I've created in my fun function. That how is it possible? How am I like still able to get that inner function from it, right? You guys got the question? Like, is it clear to all of you that why are we getting this? Guys were aware of it, or it's like I have created you guys in a dilemma that how is it happening now? You guys want to change your answer? Sarah, I'm saying yes, sir. Okay, so you guys are aware of the closures? You must have studied, right? I gave you 2 days for that. You must have studied. What about others? Yeah, I just got the answer from 2 or 3 people. Like you guys are uh, closure has the access to the parents. So, right, great, great, great. I know what closure. Great, man, great. Right. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Saksham Madan. Great. Uh, great, man, great. Chalo, great. This is because of closure. Now, since most of you are aware of closure, so I'll simply say those who are not aware, uh, just a second. Yes, those of you who are not aware, just simply see a small video or see a small, read a small closure, right? No spelling is there. So yellow as you are, closure. Right. I'll simply give you the document here as well. MDN closures. Right. Do read about them. These are like really, really beautifully explained, and closure is something which is like you love to read and you love to know about. Okay, this is like something which is magic. But in a nutshell, if you want me to explain that, I'm just trying to explain here, right? I have a function. Just explaining it with the block, right? I have a function. Now I have like let's say 1,000 line of code which is being written here, right? 1,000 line of code which is being written. But I have basically, let's assume this is my parent, or let's assume this is my any of the part of code which is being present above me. Now, after my 1,000 lines of code, I've invoked this function, which is like there could be another function inside it. I've invoked the function which is present inside it as well, right? So my closure is basically having the access of the parents as well as every like I would say every variable, every function, everything inside it, right? So having the access of entirely, when someone also wrote the same line inside here, right? Uh, if you see the comment of right, Vishesh Kumar Jha, he said that closures have the access to the parent scope even after the parent scope has closed, right? So similarly, even if your like your functional part is done, and after that you have written 1,000 lines of code, and you are invoking a function, or if you're trying to use the variables there, if you're trying to use the values there, right? Having access to the parents and their variables is possible just because of this closures, right? Do read about them in the MDN. I have given you the, I guess, the link of it from the MDN, right? So do read about them. That is like very important stuff. And this is, I guess, all about higher order functions. After that, small topic is like, is it clear about higher order functions? And like the question must be clear that why we were able to access the value. So you need to read it because of closure. I gave you just a glimpse that how closure works, but you need to see them in a proper way, right? Do read about closures. That is important. Now we'll be switching to a very small topic so that we can end it up in like 10 minutes, right? So you could have seen that in like the previous examples, I was using just a var declaration. Like I just told you, we have three types of declaration with us: var, let, and const. This let and const are a part of ECMAScript 6. That is basically the official name of JavaScript, right? Let and const are part of ECMAScript 6, and this var is like the older way of declaring the variables, right? Older way. Uh, Now, if I try to explain you why we were doing it, and what basically is happening is like var is generally having a global scope, right? Like we when we declare things with like, let's say var, then just with the var, then all the variables which have been declared by var, they are having global scope, right? They are global scope, provided if they are declared inside my GEC. I'm just talking about GEC right now, right? And if I'll declare any of the variable with let and const, then they have my script scope, right? They have my script scope. If they are like not defined in any of the function, yeah, again, this is happening, right? Okay. If they are not defined in any of the function or any of the blocks, right? So let and const, they have different scopes. Var has a global scope, and let and const have a script scope, provided they are declared inside the global execution context. Let's assume I am declaring a variable inside a function, right? If I'm declaring a variable inside a function, and if I'm like trying to declare it somewhere else ahead of my global execution context, then this var is basically having local scope, and this let and const are basically having block scope, right? Don't confuse yourself with the terms. It's like really simple and really, like I would say, not so confusing kind of thing. Let's do one thing. Let's see it in the browser as well with examples, right? With examples, let's see it in the browser as well. I'll like remove this line right now. I'm simply commenting this. I'm making one more folder named as, let's say, let var let and bounds declaration. Var let bounds declaration. Right. Ignore the spelling. Huh? Declaration. Argument is index.html and app.js. Side of my index, simply I'll see like let const var var, and I'm adding my script file here, app.js. Right. If I'll run it, then yes, I'm able to get it right. Now see what I'm doing. I'm just declaring different kind of let's say any random variable with any random values, right? I'm declaring let with a, I'm declaring let with, let's say, value of 20, and let's say I'm giving the condition that if my uh, should I do it with the scope first? Uh, should I do with the scope first? We can do both the ways, right? If my value of A is if A is greater than 5, right? These are my conditions, right? If A is greater than 5, then make it like let. I won't say I'll simply change the value of B is equal to, let's say, 500. And if I console the value of, let's say, 500, not 500, sorry, console the value of B. And if I'll again do it after my uh, code is being entered, then let's see, right? Uh, can anyone, you must try this. Tell me the output of this code which I've written right now. Just give it a guess according to your previous knowledge or anything which you want to share, right? Any random answer will be accepted, right? What is the possible value in the code which I've written over here? Just tell me the output. Just keep on telling me. I'm just waiting for 2 minutes, then we'll discuss that again. 520, 520. Okay, most of you have given me the answer of 520. Let's see, is it correct or not? Then no, it is not correct. It's 500 and 500. If you will see it properly, then I'll let you know what is happening. But see it little properly there. Why is it 500 and 500? Why not 520? Like, see, if I like save it and if I'll rerun the code, it's 500 and 500 only. Great, Abhishek. Really great, man. 500, 500. Great, man. Uh, anyone else with 500, 500? Ah, yeah. Rahul with 500. Okay, it's over in value of 20. Okay, like, why is it happening? Anyone knows the reason? Like, okay, I've written this b is equal to this. What if I write let b is equal to 500? Now, what would have happened? Now, this answer is 520, right? You guys were a little confused, like redeclaring things as well as reinitializing the value, right? You guys got little confused with that. But some of you were right as well. Bhumika is also right. Pretty good, yeah. Akshat. Yeah, now, right. Great, Akash. See what basically happening here is, I just told you, right? This let can, whenever we declare a variable with a let functionality, then we can override the value. What basically happening was initially I gave it let declaration of B. B was declared with let, and 20 was there. After that, I have changed the value of directly. I've directly changed the value. I've not redeclared it. I've changed the value from 20 to 500. And after changing the value, where is the code? After changing the value, I'm simply consoling it out 2 times. So now only that same bucket is being overridden by the value of 500 instead of 20. So that's why I was getting 500 both the times, right? 500, 500 both the times. But what if I create a let again here, right? I'm redeclaring this. Let's do one thing. Let's see it in the browser first. Let's make it a little easy for you guys, right? Let's see it in the browser. Let's see it in the browser. So I'll be okay, great, man. I'll be making breakpoints. I want to keep a breakpoint of, let's say, here, not here, here, and here as well. Let's not keep it here, here as well, and let's keep it here, okay? Uh, here, here, both the things, right? I'm making 3 breakpoints here. What if I'll simply go and I'll consolidate log? The first statement which wherein my breakpoint is occurred is like this. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's redo it. Let's redo it and see it from the start, right? Inside it, I told you that let and cost have script scope, right? Let and const have script scope. So if I see here inside my scope window, then I can see that script scope is somewhere there. A global scope is there, a script scope is there, right? Inside my script scope, A and B are declared, which are initially given the value of undefined. Why undefined? Because of this memory creation phase. Okay. Move one step ahead. If I move one step ahead, this A is being given the value of 10 because this first line is being executed. Now the second line is yet to be executed. Then that's why it is having a value of undefined. If I move one step ahead, then yes, this A and B both are given the value 10 and 20 according to what their value was assigned in the code. Since they are let, so that's why they're in the script scope. Now this if termination, like if conditional will be there. If I move next line, then now you can see that this B value is yet to be like overchanged. It is like just entered my I would say just entered my conditional scope. If I move one step ahead, then value, which was earlier 20, now it is being overridden. It is not creating some other variable or some other stuff or inside some other scope, right? It is just simply overriding inside my script scope assigned to it. If I move one step ahead, then simply consoling log the value, it would have given me 500 only, and this ninth line is yet to be executed. And before its execution, then also you can check that yes, my script scope is yet having the value 500 as B, right? So that is why I was getting 500 in both the cases. And just if I'll simply change this, like if I'll redeclare B rather than changing the value, then let us see what happens, right? If I'll simply redeclare the value and see what happens, then again, before anything is there, this let and const will be defined under the script scope. The script scope initially, the MCP is undefined. Why? Because nothing is being executed yet. So after my first line is being executed, this 10 is being given value undefined, and this 20 will be given value, oh sorry, B will be given the value 20. Great, great, pretty great. Now, if I move inside my let B, the let B is not being executed yet, then you can see before its execution, this block scope is being added wherein this B came, but since it is not executed, so this memory creation phase would have taken place. And because of this memory creation phase, the JavaScript engine is giving it a value of undefined. But the major change here is I have redeclared B. So that's why the changes are not being reflected in the script scope. They are being reflected in the block scope. And this is what I explained you. Whenever we are outside our GEC, outside our GEC is like we are having some scope of if, we are having some scope of for and all stuff, right? When we are outside of GEC, we have block scope, right? So that's why this block scope is being considered in like is being initialized or is being made inside my this scope window. And right now, since it is not being executed, so that's why it is undefined. If I move one step ahead, then yes, now I'm getting the value of 500 in it, right? This console statement is yet to be printed. If I see my console, this is like still empty. Once I'll move to the next step, then see what happens to the block scope as well as what will happen to the script scope, right? I'm just clicking on the next thing. After just clicking, the flow of code came out of my block scope. This curly brace is basically considered as a block scope, right? It came out of my block scope, and the existence of my uh, block scope, which was made under the category of scope, is now not there anymore. And this has been printed console.log value cheese as 500 because this initially tried to find out the value of B from the local scope, like from the block scope, from where in which is it is present locally. So it gave it a value of 500. Now having anything related since this function like this block scope is done, right? So its existence is done, its scope is ended. So now it will find for the value of B and it will find from the value B from here. So that's why if I move to the next step, then this next step will generally be considering it me like giving me the value of yes, it is being taken with me the value of 20. That is what is basically our uh, I would say difference between block scope as well as my script scope, right? Now you got the difference between block scope as well as the script scope, right? Script scope is when you are defining things inside the global stuff and global execution context, and like block scope is when there's a block kind of structure, something which is stopping your code from being like executed in a GEC, right? Got the difference between uh, block as well as script scope? Is it clear? Like you have to, of course, you have to study it over MDN as well. I just gave you a very basic glimpse and very basic example, but it should have been clear because this is like something which I tried to like explain with both the examples at the same time, right? Over the browser only, right? It's clear. That's pretty good. It's clear. Okay, pretty good. It's clear. Let us do one thing. Let us do the same code, but with a different declaration. Let and const will be having the same. I'm not doing it with const because changing the const value is never possible. So this will like we won't give you a good taste of doing so. So that's why I'm just using var and let right now. Redeclaration is not possible, and that's why. So I'm basically doing one thing here. I'm basically creating a variable with my var declaration. Inside my var declaration, again, I'll give the same example that if my a is greater than 5, then what I want to do, I just simply want to change the value of a equal to 99. Sorry, a equal to 99. Should I give 99 or I should give 9 only? I think I should give 9 only. It's better, right? Not confusing much. Okay. after giving it a value of A, let's see console.log of if I go to A, then what will happen? And do we have another variable? Should we take it? No, I think we should not take it. We should simply console.log after this scope variable, right? Now, what is the possible answer in this case? Just tell me little quickly. I know we are beyond the time, but this is the last thing which we're discussing for this morning class, right? Tell me the output of for this. Like, try to be a little fast this time. It's simple. Two outputs will be there. What will be the output? Just tell me that. 9 and 100, 9 and 9, two different answers, two different people. 9 and 9. Let's wait for 1 minute, and everyone should be answerable to this because we are doing VAR since very first example of today's class. So I guess this should have been clear by now. Great, great. Few are still saying 100. Array, great man. Badhiya. We are getting good bunch of answers, which means the interviewer can easily trap you. Okay, most of you are correct in this. Great man. Great. Okay, let's see it in our output. If I simply go to my console and I'll simply run this code. Acha, why is it having a breakpoint? I don't want any of the breakpoint. I want it to be in the console only. Wherein I've done this. I'll simply go to my index.html again. I'll see to this. Then only 9 and 9 is being printed, not 100 and not 900, right? Most of you are right, for sure, right? But some of you are still confused. So let's try to see what is happening behind the scenes. Again, what we'll do, we'll go to our, let's say, this thing, right? Okay. And okay. These three breakpoints, I guess, are enough, right? If I'll start executing my code, then let's see what happens. Anonymous is there for sure. It is there, right? Inside my global scope, since it's a var declaration, I told you about var, that var is being defined inside my global scope. That's why there's no script code which is being entered yet. So I'll be like finding for the value of A. Then yes, I'm getting the value of A as undefined because of my MCP. If I change a step ahead, if I move ahead, then this A is being now given the value of 100. Okay, I'm inside my, I would say I'm inside my, what is this? My conditionals. Yeah, I'm inside my conditionals, yet my value is like 100 right now. If I move one more step ahead, let's see what happens. Now, the value, okay, this line is not being executed yet. Now, in the next line, it will be executed. So now I'm getting this A value changed inside my global only. Why change inside my global only? Because A is declared with var and var is having a global scope, right? Var is having a global scope. We are basically the value, we're not creating another variable. So that's why, because of this console.log as A, and since the value is being changed in the global only, so that's why we are getting console.log A as 9 only in the case of 16 itself, right? But if we change it by a let declaration, now, sorry, not let declaration, really sorry, change it by a var declaration only. Now tell me what can be the possible output, right? I should not have changed it here. Just a second, now it will not show me the real output. I will change it. I'll redeclare it with the var only. Like I'll redeclare it with the var, and I'll simply log it down. Now tell me what is the possible answer in this case. Like, what is the possible answer in this case? It is 9. It's 999. Okay, 900 is also there. It will remain the same. It will remain the same. Let's see. Okay, we are short of time, so that's why I'm just directly showing it there. But no worries. We are getting again 9:9. How? We'll see it in the browser again itself. If I redeclare it here, then of course global execution is there and A is still undefined. If I move one step ahead, then again A got the value of 100. Now let's see what happens. Once this var is done, just a second. See, once this var is again being redeclared, right? So what variable does it? It basically changes the same global scope only. It does not create a copy, or it does not, I would create a copy is a better word. It does not create a copy of that variable. It basically encounters the same variable and changes its value, right? Right now, it has not been executed. Now, it will see that yes, there's no more scope. No, there is no more scope, of course. Now this A value, which was being redeclared, is now basically pointing to the same bucket, pointing to the same variable and changing in the value in there itself, right? So there is a small difference between let and var, which we just saw, that the var is like directly change the value inside the main scope only, inside that global scope only, and rather than being it like making it somewhere else, right? So that's why we are getting again 9 and 9 in both the cases. And we'll see the console that yes, 9 and 9 is there. Now things are, yeah, great man. Rahul, it won't be 100. I guess now it is clear to you, but it's 9 will be 9 because of things which we explained right now. Things are clear. Like this global execution context is clear, and if it is not clear, then you can simply go to your source window and try to add different breakpoints there and check for the different scope, check for the values, right? I guess this is, sir. Let it, sir, and let it give 900, right? In let it will give right. We'll see with that as well. Okay, we can try it that way. Like we are actually, but without any keyword, which keywords functionality variable, but without any keyword, you cannot declare it without any keyword, right? 9 9. The concept is clear, right? If you are having any sort of doubt or if you want to do any PNC, today you will get one more assignment. Today I'll be making one more assignment regarding this. Because this is something which is important as interview point of interview point. So I'll be making assignment for you guys in evening session. I don't think so. We'll be learning much. One or two concepts might be there. I'm not sure of it, but this assignment will definitely be taking place. I'll be giving you assignment, and guys will be doing it. And try to like do it right now only. I'll be pushing the code over the GitHub so that it's better for you to understand different things, right? This is. Just a second. I was telling about var declaration. I don't want you to be confused with this. This is about just a second. Uh, let declaration, right? Let declaration and var declaration, right? So I guess we are already 15 minutes ahead, but that's okay. Learning concept is important. But that's hardly matters, right? So hope so things are clear. I'll be pushing it like in next 1 or 2 minutes. No worries about that. Just do revise things and do come in the evening class because I'll be making the assignment and that assignment can shortly will be helping you in the interviews because whenever I was also like going towards the same phases and I also studied, right? So that were the problems which encountered to me and I was not that much clear with the concepts. So I'll be giving you the concept, I'll be giving you the questions. Do them with the same way. Try to do it in a dry run like we do it in and global. My net is not being connected. That's something which is not good.